couple of months ago, I watched, so many different kinds of movies that during the previews, which is part of my most favorite part of going to the movie theaters, which is great and fun because I got to see this really cool trailer. And to that trailer was this movie that we are about to talk about with today. And I loved the trailer. I love the trailer. Just even the that mini trailer, the teaser trailer, talking about that this individual made a wish, and now this in particular person is now causing a reign of terror over him, and now he wants to take back his wish, and they're telling him no, he can't. That was the trailer. When I saw that trailer, I'm like, this is great. This is great. I don't know what this is about other than what we just saw, but I'm excited and I cannot wait. I love watching horror movies, but you guys know, if it's demonic, I will not watch it. So I had to look it up to make sure that this was not demonic. Thank God it was not. And I'm very happy with that because at the end of the trailer, what really caught my attention was that it was going to be released on May 15th. And May 15th is none other than my birthday. Yes, today is my birthday, everybody. And I went ahead and went out to go and watch, as a little birthday treat for me, is Obsession. Now, I gotta say this. I love this movie. This year has been great for horror flicks. And this is a really great addition to that roster. We got Primate at the beginning of the year, back in January, and then we had Send Help, and now here we are. We are now reviewing Obsession. It's kind of like the same feeling that I had when I first watched Weapons last year, and it's very unique. I love unique storytelling, especially in the world of the horror genre, because this one is directed by Curry Barker. Had no idea who he was. And apparently, this was his first take on directing a film, like a full theatrical film release. So when I found out that he has done some work on YouTube, that's fantastic. He did some work on YouTube with a very popular short film that's actually free on YouTube to watch, and I did watch it, which is Milk and Cereal, which is not cereal, the breakfast cereal. No, cereal as in serial killer. So I did ask myself, like, what does this movie mean by milk and cereal? I was like, I get it. I watched it. It was a good movie. It was one of those found footage pieces, and those are like the cheapest thing to make in the world of cinema. So I'm glad that he had made it, and it was a very interesting take. It was a very, very interesting story to watch, even though it was a mini film, like about an hour or so, and I wasn't even bored. And usually I get nauseous when I watch found footage movies. If the camera is steady enough, I'll be okay. But if there's a lot of shaky camera going on, then yeah, you guys lost me, and all I'm thinking about is how nauseous and sick I feel. But I didn't get that feeling with Milk and Cereal. So that was a fantastic movie. But I did watch Obsession first, and then I watched Milk and Cereal. So when it comes to Obsession, wow. I could not believe what I watched, man. It was so good. I mean, you would think that when you get a trailer released, that trailer itself was just going to be a really good trailer, but yet the movie was going to be terrible. That was not the case, man. This movie really rocked. It was so good. The main character, in a way that they made it the main character, the character Bear, played by Michael Johnston, when he first appeared in the movie, which is immediately, he looks like a very young Billy Crudup. That's what he just looks like to me, and which is not a bad thing. When I kept looking at him, like, he just looks like Billy Crudup. So that was fun. And his performance in the movie was really great. I really did admire it very much. And his voice, it just reminded me so much of Tom Holland. I don't know, maybe because I'm watching right now the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, right? And that's all I hear. When I heard his voice, I'm like, I think Tom Holland would have been really great in this movie if they could have afforded him. But no, I think that Michael Johnston playing this character was great. His character is very much from a man's perspective. We've all been here. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And I've been there myself, and I think, from what I know, there's a lot of others out there that have been in Bear's shoes, where he has this female friend, and in which cases he's pretty much friend zoned, but yet he has this a massive crush on her. He doesn't have just a crush. He actually loves her and he wants to be with her. But there's always that awkward, weird vibe going on between him and her. Whether or not he should make that move to, give her the news that he has feelings for her. Whether or not he's going to be rejected or it's going to affect their friendship. It does show that he really does care about her. So he walks into a magic shop and buys this little box, which we've seen before. Not this one in particularly, but something similar to that. This little box, from a whole collection that says, that's called One Wish Willow. And so what you do is that you take it out and there's this stick somewhat, and it just tells you to make a wish and break it in half. It kind of reminded me of Weapons there, how the witch lady Gladys, she breaks those twigs from that little tree, and whatever happens. It's kind of like that. I wonder, no, like there's no connection. But yeah, and I love that. I really do love that. And once he makes that wish, the wish is granted. And the slogan to this movie is be careful what you wish for, because it's true. If you were to go back all the way to 1991, when the first animated Disney classic Aladdin came out, the one thing that really caught my attention is when Genie is telling Aladdin the rules to his wishes. And one of those wishes is he cannot make anybody fall in love with anybody else. And this is what the story is pretty much explaining to you. This is what happens when you make somebody fall in love. Because in which cases he cannot take away the free will from anybody, because that's their free will. That's their human rights given to them. And this is what happens here. This girl, Nikki, which is played by Indy Navarte. Excuse my pronunciation. I think that I'll probably get the right pronunciation later on, because this actress, she really, really kicked butt. I mean, her performance in this movie was top-notch. Amazing. I enjoyed every little bit of her performance in this movie. It was terrifying. It was just wow. I mean, I've seen brilliant performances before in the past, but this one is like new material. And I know that she popped out in the Superman and Lois series. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I don't think I haven't seen her in that show just yet. But I hear that she's great. And her being in this, I think that she was just wow, just wonderful, wonderful. She kind of reminds me of like Dakota Fanning a little bit, and somewhat of Millie Bobby Brown. But like I said, if they could have afforded these kind of actors, most likely they would have starred in this. But I really did love Indy Navarte. I mean, she was just fantastic. The way that she just shifts and changes herself from one individual to another, being the, who she normally is, to being this, somewhat possessed individual, having to being, fall out of heels heavily in love with Bear, unwillingly. You can even tell the differences between and how much you can see how she's much, like the normal Nikki is being held captive against her will inside her own body. It doesn't really explain per se of whether or not she's trapped inside her own body. Sometimes it does show like that. But then there's another scene where you actually hear her voice on the phone, and wondering if maybe her, her soul or her spirit is casted, someplace else into some other dimension. I don't know. It doesn't really explain that, but it's terrifying. It's very, very terrifying. And I mean, I don't know if this is a possibility or not, but I would really, really root for her to getting at least nominated for an Academy Award next year. I think that she is just fantastic. There's two other friends that are in the group when it comes to these characters. Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson, and then we have Sarah Megan Lawless. These two have perfect screen time. You know, I love on how the character Ian is somewhat like the best friend to Bear, and every single time whenever Bear is trying to explain what's going on to Ian, you just see in the background Nikki, who is obsessed. I mean, obsessed. She doesn't even go about her business. She is in the background and just staring throughout the entire conversation. And I'm just like, this is disturbing. It is disturbing. Like, yeah, I'm paying attention to the dialogue between these two characters, but you can still notice in the background Nikki just staring the entire time. And I was like, oh my goodness, man, that is I mean, that is obsession right there. The official title of this movie. There's a meaning to the title of this movie, and I think that Nikki does a brilliant performance of that. The character Sarah, however, Megan Lawless's character, she is very much the direction that Bear should be looking towards, because Bear has this huge love obsession with Nikki, but yet he's looking the wrong way when he should be looking at Sarah, since Sarah's the one who actually has a crush on him. And they have fantastic chemistry. You would think that these two should be together, but no. Bear has this, obsession with Nikki, and there's so many ways on how all of this could be neglected. It could be ignored. Everything everything could be the issue can be you can find a solution to these issues here, because there's a lot of stuff where Bear he's very hesitant. He just doesn't know what's going to happen if he were to express his feelings, and because of that, if he were to have expressed his feelings before making the wish, who knows what could have happened? Because even Nikki has a line in this where she says that if she has a crush on somebody, nobody would know. Nobody could figure out that she does, because she does ask the question sometime in the movie to Bear, do you like me? Do you have a crush on me? And of course Bear hesitantly responds with, no, I don't. I just see us as friends. And I'm like sitting there like, dude. And believe me, I get it. I've been there. I have been there. It's hard. It's hard to answer that question. But I really do encourage those who are in those shoes, don't be hesitant. This is your chance. If you're asked that question, give them the honest truth. It doesn't matter. I mean, if this person doesn't like you for the way that you are, then just move on to the next individual. But yeah. But that's pretty much what this movie is, and I had a fun, fantastic time. It's just so great. It's not a love story nor a romance. Because they even explain it in this movie on how much they're just two completely different things when it comes to a romance and a love story. Because this movie, I correct me. I apologize. I said it wrong. This is actually a love story, somewhat like a tragic love story, and there's a part of the film that kind of gives away the ending for me. I that's explained, and I'm like thinking, okay, I think I know where this is headed towards, and it was headed towards that way, and it did, but at the same time there were surprises along the way, and I'm just like, okay, I will go ahead and admit that was pretty darn good. That was very darn good. I loved every decision that this director, Kerry Barker, did, because I've seen several interviews of him talking about this film and his ideas and how film should be developed, and I really did love his explanation on how he just comes up with these stories and how he directs film, and I think that he has a really great imagination. He said he's just putting himself in our shoes as the audience as to what should we expect to see in a horror movie. And this is what he gives us. And he gives us exactly what we're looking for. For example, jump scares. Jump scares nowadays, they are just, slowly quiet sequences with, loud music popping up out of nowhere, you know, getting the audiences to jump, but is the character himself jumping and in the same situation of getting jump scared himself. You know, those kind of things. And then also, of course, I had the idea of assuming that this could have been a demonic film, like that this girl was being possessed demonically. But of course, that wasn't the case, and that's because of Curry Baker's take on directing this film. He didn't want for it to be another demonic film like so many others. And I give you very huge credits and bravo to you, Mr. Barker, for doing that, because this is the kind of movie I just so am obsessed with, you know. Now, you know, I don't mean to say it like that, but it's really, really good. I was asked this question earlier today, if you know, do I like this movie more than Mortal Kombat last week? And I said, you know what? I think I might. I think I might. I think I might. I really, really do. It's fantastic. Would I go and watch it again? I think so. I have a friend of mine that I told him that, hey, listen, I went and watched this movie and it's just awesome, and I want you to watch it, and I don't mind watching it again because it's a really good movie. So I think that we should go and watch it again. So he's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. So I would just love to see this again. I mean, this was fantastic. There's another scene in this movie where there's a conversation between two characters, and the camera angle, it angles it to a certain position where you are most likely to expect something to happen. And when it happens, and even though you're expecting it, it's just, whoa, like it just makes you jump out of your seat, man. It was that, you know, terrifying. And what happens after that? Oh my gosh. They gave a new meaning to horror in this movie, big time, man. I mean, like I've seen Terrifier, and Terrifier, man, that's like, you know, a whole other level of horror there. I mean, my explanation to those movies is if this guy Art the Clown was in the same room as Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Chucky and Jason, you know, they would, if they see him at work, they'll be like, oh no, that's just too much, man. That's just way too much, you know, leaving the room puking, because wow, man, that guy was like, whoa. I'm excited to see the spoof of him in the new Scary Movie coming out next month. So yeah, but when it comes to Obsession, everybody, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it for you guys to go and watching it. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 95%, man, and it deserves it. It really does deserve it. Great, fantastic rating. But for me, however, I give the movie Obsession a 100%. So it's an awesome movie here, everybody. I loved this so much. I cannot wait to see it again. It is what horror movies, original horror movies, should be. And I don't want a sequel. I don't want a spin-off. I don't want a prequel. Like how they're trying to do with weapons. Please don't touch anything on weapons. I don't want anything extended from that movie. I just want it as the movie itself alone. And then this one too, Obsession. I don't want to know how in the world this whole One Wish Willow thing works. I don't really care. I don't want to know. Please don't touch it. Leave it as it is. Perfectly perfect as it is in every way. But yeah, that's my review, everybody, for Obsession. What did you guys think? It is out right now. Let me know in the comment section in the bottom. And let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on YouTube. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support on my channel. And also, click on that notification bell if you want to be notified for future videos. So anyways, everybody, another big happy birthday to me and to my daughter. I love you, baby girl. I miss you. Can't wait to see you, gorgeous. And to everybody else, I'll see everyone in the next video. And as always, stay awesome. Thanks, you guys. Bye.